Hi guys, welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Today we've got quite a topical pre-match show to talk about. We've got Chelsea coming up this weekend. We just played Stockport last night, and I think a lot of fans are definitely on the Rodgers out bandwagon now after yesterday's performance. Yes, we won, but 3-1 in penalties after a 0-0. Disappointing, first game, but what do you make of it this week, Reedy?
With a lot of the situation going on with Fofana, third bid going in and getting rejected as well, playing against Stockport last night, again we didn't score against them in 90 minutes, but we stole the result, and for me that's a lot more, I wouldn't say it's a big move forward, but we've got to win. That is kind of the good thing for me. And then going into this sort of game where people are saying you couldn't beat Stockport in 90 minutes, why would you anywhere near beat Chelsea? For me, it wasn't our first team. Our first team is strong enough to beat Chelsea on our day. And if we move forward and put players in, like for me, Dewsbury Hall, and you've got Pratt instead of Yori, people like that, but players like that, realistically, I think we could beat them with them.
I think it's always good to be optimistic like you are. I think a lot of fans are expecting Rodgers to be gone soon. Rejecting a £70 million bid for Fofana is a good move by Leicester in my eyes. I think cash out, to take him at what we're asking. If he's worth 85 million, if we could sell Maguire for 80 million, we could sell Fofana for easily 80 to 100 million. He's in that ballpark. He is on a 5-year contract at Leicester at the moment though, and because the deal's not gone through, he's acting like a unprofessional little baby at the moment, so he needs to pull his finger out, because for all he knows, he's got 10 days left on the transfer window now, if that. It could very easily not happen in the end for him, and he could be stuck with us until January. So he needs to understand he's at Leicester, because like Tom said, he's got a very deep hole to dig out of now if he stays at Leicester.
Yeah, I guess, and I still think he'll stay. Don't get me wrong, with what he's done on socials in the past few weeks, and now not wanting to play in a game, it's getting to the point now where he has got to dig himself out of a hole. But with the amount of bids that are coming in and we'll keep rejecting him, I can't see him going. And that's one, again, I'd like him to go, because I know he probably won't want to play for us, but I still think he'll be a professional if he does stay in the club after the window closes. And do I think he'll play against Chelsea? I think so, because he wants to perform and show that what they're missing, and if he starts performing well against Chelsea, they'll be like, well, okay, we need to snap him up before the window closes. So for me, I think he stays, but that's just because I've got things around saying that he will stay. But what's your thoughts on the situation going into the Chelsea game?
I think he's not going to play this weekend. I think that's quite obvious. He is our best defender, and I can't not say that, but for me now, he can, no offence for the time at Leicester, he can rot in the under-23s on the bench. I don't want to see him play for Leicester again. There's no player that's bigger than the club. He signed a 5-year deal on 60, 70 grand a week, and that's more than any of us will ever earn in our lifetime with the amount of money he's on.
Yeah.
Well, we don't earn that in a year what he earns in a week. We don't earn half of what he earns in a week.
Yeah.
So he should be thankful that he's at Leicester at the moment, and Chelsea do want him, and we're rejecting £70 million bids because we say, listen mate, you're worth 80 to 85 million pounds. Chelsea have got the money. If they want to splash £60 million on that Gordon player from Everton, they can spend an extra 20 million on Fofana.
But that's the sort of thing now, as they put the bid in for that Gordon, that's it was 40 mil. Now they've boosted up 20 mil to get 60 mil. Is that the 20 mil that they could have put into Fofana? As it now that they can't afford to put that much money into Fofana?
I think Fofana's going to go for around 80 million. In the last few days of the season, I think they will put the bid in, because like you say, they need defenders for starters. They got a red card at the weekend, they got injuries. They need someone like him, and he just is, in today's market, they can, pull their fingers out, Chelsea can spend the money for him, because players are going for ridiculous prices right now. He's just signed a 5-year contract. We have no obligation to sell him right now. We're just doing it because he wants to go. And with the clubs like, it's 80 million. We spent 25, 30 million on him. We're making 50, 60 million pounds on the player. That's how the club does business, and they're holding out for move because they know you've got 5 years left on your contract, mate. But he's acting unprofessional in the circumstances he's in. So I don't think under Rodgers he's going to play again. I don't know how long Rodgers has got left. To me personally, and I think a lot of fans, I want him out. I think he needs to go out of the club now. It's nothing to do with how he is, how he's been. It's more the fact, for me, and especially, you can change a manager, which freshens the team up, but you can't change a whole team. We've seen it before with Ranieri when the players stopped playing for him, get a new manager in, and they're all like, right, let's play for this manager now, we want him. Same again, happened with Puel. Let's not play for Puel. They stopped playing for Puel, Rodgers came in, the players played for him. It's too much player power, and it's a shame because Rodgers is a good manager at the end of the day. He's done a lot for us, and I rate him highly, but personally, he has to go now. He's lost his ambition for one, and he wants to get the sack to get that big payout now. I think he's not bothered about the club. He wants his next chapter in football. So I think it's time to change him whilst there's a few days left in transfer window, and maybe pull in a few more players just from Rudkin's side, not manager or anything. Let the team that actually gets paid money to do that, do it.
It's a tricky situation for me for Rodgers, because I think if he goes, then I won't grumble, I won't say that it wasn't the right decision, but at the moment, I don't think sacking him is going to solve anything. I think it might freshen up a tiny bit, but like he says, before the window opened, he said that he wanted to bring players in. I think if he got more of his players in, he got what he wanted and kind of progressed with that, I think no one would want to be.
I do agree that he's not. He has some. If he gets sacked, he does have some. I did say I wanted new players in. It's not my fault, and I agree. He did want new players.
I don't think he's maybe happy himself at the moment because he's not getting what he's asked for at the club, and I still think he's a good man. I still think he'll change it around, but at the moment we're kind of stuck in the middle stage where we're not going to bring anyone in anymore. Even if I think it'll be self-fulfilling, I don't think we're going to use that money. It's too late. So that's where another reason why I said I don't think we should sell him, because what's the point in selling someone to have nothing to replace him with? So
I think there's a lot of options out there. I think we will replace him as soon as...
There is, but I just don't think... I can't see Leicester.
I think we'll sack him the day we find a new manager to replace him. I don't think we're going to just sack him and say, give whoever is second in charge the run-up, I'd say.
Again, there's a few managers that we've seen around the media saying about Pochettino. I still think he would probably come if the money was right. I don't think he would come if the money wasn't right, because I think he's at a lot higher level than that. But and you've got the likes of Sean Dyche, you've got the likes of Solskjaer from United, which is a bit.
I personally don't think we're going to get Pochettino. As much as I'd like him, for one, he's going to want too much money at Leicester, because he knows how much he's on, and Pochettino is 3 levels ahead of Rodgers. No offence. He's like, if he could be on £10 million a year and a 30 million buyout clause, whether ridiculous, he'll be like, you can give me 15 million a year and a 40 million buyout clause. That's what I'm worth.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd go back to basics, and I think the club itself, they'll be like, once they sack him, because I think it's inevitable at this point, really, that 30 million buyout clause, they're going to have to pay him £30 million, and it just is what it is, and that's a mistake on Top's part and the club's, the owner's part. And I don't think they're going to make that mistake again. I think they're going to be like, let's just go back to basics, and I think they will bring in someone like Sean Dyche, free agent. I know you probably don't think that's the best move, but I think someone who's Nigel Pearson-esque, he's got the energy of no BS. I think Rodgers has lost that ambition. We saw it with Johnny Evans when he came out after the Southampton game. He said, I don't agree with Rodgers. We haven't had that chat. We're thinking the exact opposite thing of what our manager's saying. They're not communicating anymore. They're not talking about the right things anymore. They're not on the same wavelengths. I think the players are falling out of love with Rodgers a bit, and I think that that's my main thing as why he needs to go, is we just need someone different to get these players motivated again.
And then obviously the last player going into it, there's so many issues going around the club, but Youri Tielemans has not played well in the last kind of year now, and for me, Pratt gets in front of him, but maybe his performance last night showed differently with his kind of passion into the team when he obviously scored the penalty to kind of win the game. But what's your thoughts on him?
I'm not too sure on Tielemans. He's been fine at Leicester, but he obviously wants to move. It's so blindingly obvious he wants to move. He's not signed a new contract. He's been underperforming for ages. Apparently yesterday, one of the things we've heard from people at the ground is that someone told him, because he was patting the badge after he did it, someone told him to F off and get out of the club, and he turned back to the fan and told them to F off, which is unprofessional by the player. A fan can say what they like. I know it's a bit disrespected by a fan, but a fan can say what. He's a player at the end of the day. It's a bit different in that aspect.
I guess, but the way you could say it is, the fans, I guess, for me, in my point of view, it's like he's trying to show that he's still, if he stays in the club this window, he's still showing that he has got a bit of passion left in the club, and he will play in the team if he doesn't move. even though he doesn't play to his best abilities at times, he still plays like Fofana. He will still play in that team. He will still try and put 100% effort in. Yes, I said I prefer Pratt in there. But
I disagree. You say he puts 100% effort in. I've not seen him put 10% effort in this season to begin with.
I think
he came on against Southampton and we lost because of him. He gave away the ball. He had Ndidi. I was close as you are to me, and he passed the ball to Ndidi when Ndidi had 4 players around him. He's lost his game management at Leicester. He's lost his spark at Leicester in the past year. For me, I'd rather play Pratt. Just all of the things where you get all these players. And last night we played all these new players, and I'm not going to lie to you, we play all these fringe players, and they did shocking yesterday. There's no way around it. They couldn't put a goal in. Daka played for 60 minutes with 25 shots on target and 25 shots and 8 on target. I'm not saying they were all him, but what does he have to do, man? He's £30 million player, and he can't score against a newly promoted League 2 side. I'm not being funny. But, if Rodgers can't, get the ambition out of these players, including Tielemans, to, because we know what he can do, and Rodgers just isn't the man to motivate them at the moment, and there's something wrong at the club, and something has to change. We're going into Chelsea this week, and yes, they lost to Leeds, but I think we're going to get smashed 3 or 4-0 at this rate. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't care that they lost 3-0 to Leeds and they've not got any defenders. Under Rodgers and under this lack of ambition and lack of spark, we're not. There's no way anyone thinks we're legitimately going to go into this and win the game. Surely,
I still think so. I think with the player they've got out, obviously Koulibaly red-carded. They don't have any other defenders other than maybe.
It doesn't matter because we can't score. They've got a good attacking team.
That doesn't make any difference. Obviously, Chelsea lost 3-0 for me, and there's obviously a reason there. They're not performing well. They only just got a draw against Spurs. Sorry, that was a kind of a big blow for them as well. And for me, I know what you mean. It's Chelsea. They are kind of a bit more high ambition than us at the moment. But
the thing is, their manager Tuchel, or whatever is how you say his name, he's going to say that's embarrassing, lads. 3-0 loss to Leeds. He's going to motivate them and say, listen, that was embarrassing. Fresh start this week. Whoever does well in training, you're first in the team. That's the kind of manager he is. Rodgers will be like, okay, lads, we lost to Southampton. We just beat Stockport. It's all right. All of you people, you'll still be in the team again. You'll still make your starts. Don't worry. The same players will be in the team. For me, my biggest disappointment out of the Stockport game and going into the Chelsea game is we had the whole new team of players. The only one that looked somewhat promising was Iverson on penalties. I can't say for the rest of the game, because I didn't see it, but I saw his penalties. But all those other lads out there that didn't do anything to, make themselves want to push into this team, what's the point in having them? We're paying Vestergaard 70 grand a week, and I didn't hear anything about him doing great. I know it was a 0-0 draw, and they probably didn't attack as much. But
again, the half the players that haven't played together this whole season, like this new season, and people are like, well, they're still in training together and whatnot. But again, there was tendering changes. Jamie did say yes, they're still internationals, but I don't think half of them have played a minute of football yet. Iverson has not been in the Premier League once yet, and I still think he probably deserves a chance in the Premier League, I guess. And he just showed it last night. He saved 3 penalties, and I think apparently he saved 2 or 3 shots in the game as well. So there's certain people in there. Again, Söyüncü realistically probably should be getting in front of Amartey. I don't know how Rodgers is picking him. Is it because he hasn't had a foot?
I think he has favourites. I think the problem again with Rodgers is if he has a fallout with a player, he's not going to play him. And, that happens with every manager. But it sounds like Rodgers is just falling out with everyone. It doesn't sound like he's best buddies with anyone. I can't safely say that him and, anyone is, backing Rodgers. I mean, even the players themselves are coming out a bit and saying, like I said, Evans was coming out and saying the opposite to what Rodgers is saying. At the end of the day, I don't think Rodgers is the man to take us forward, and I think it's a bit, like I say, get rid of the manager and the whole team freshens up and they're like, let's play for Leicester. We're not playing under Rodgers anymore. So I think going into the Chelsea game, we need to take that with a pinch of salt a bit, if he's here or not.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 to Leicester coming into the Saturday match.
I mean, I'm never going to back Leicester to lose. My heart's telling me we're going to win 2-1. My head's telling me we're going to get smashed 4-0.
I can see why you think we're going to get smashed, but with what's gone on with Chelsea the last few weeks, it's kind of kind of giving me a bit more optimism, saying that, like, again, they don't have any defenders. Yes, you might say we don't have the attacking threat at the moment, but they literally don't have one defender other than maybe bringing in Fofana that could be the game changer. But other than
I still don't think Fofana's going to play.
Well, even if we don't play for us, it depends if they buy him. But if not, they don't have one fully fit central defender other than maybe Reece James, and he's not even a defender. He's more of a wing back. So for me, going forward, it should be a bit more optimistic for us to try and get at least a draw in the game anyway.
Yeah, let us know what you think, guys. Obviously, it's been a bit of a shaker week. It's all bad news at the moment, really, around the club. There's not much good energy coming around, and have you say in the comments down below what you think about this whole situation with Fofana, Rodgers, Tielemans, everything. Hopefully, we're going to be talking again next week after a good win against Chelsea, but I can't see it. Thanks, guys.